Welcome back to the Paddle and Fin Podcast Network. We're brought to you by Yak Gadget. For all your kayak fishing accessory needs, go to yakgadget.com. Pelican cases, coolers, and lighting. Go to pelican.com. The 153 Bait Company. For all your hard and soft bait needs, go to the153anglers.com. Now let's get this show started.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to The Reel Down. Glad to have everybody back listening. Just me running solo again this week. Big shout out. We miss you, Drew. Hope your family's doing great, and hope to see you back on here real soon. What we got tonight, something I've had a lot of questions about. I've had a bunch of folks, when we do the end of the show, we go over tournament results, outside of what we were talking about in the main part of the show. And names that have came up quite a few times was the All-American Kayak Series. I've had a bunch of folks have questions. I had questions about, who's involved. Is it open for anybody? Is it a trail series? Is it individual events and opens? There's a classic. So I decided that I wanted to get, some of the people involved on here with me and go over everything it is and help them spread the word about what they got going on and give everybody more opportunities to fish more tournaments. So, without further ado, we have Josh Boothe and Tyler Cole. What's going on, guys?
Hey, how's it going, man?
How's it going?
Thank you all for joining me tonight. Glad to have you. I know we haven't had either one of you on, so just real quick before we get into everything else, Josh, why don't you take it away? Tell us a little bit about yourself and, how you got into all this.
I got into kayak tournament fishing back in 2016, and I just dove right in hardcore. I just got addicted to it immediately.
I know the feeling.
I pretty much just started traveling full time and fishing full time, and my wife was real supportive of that. And then after a couple years, just the way things happened, I ended up taking over the Moyak fishing series here in Missouri, and kind of been switching over to the tournament director role ever since then. So, that's kind of what I do now, just pretty much run the Moyak fishing series here and the All-American Kayak Series.
Awesome. What about you, Tyler?
About the same time, I jumped in doing some online stuff in 16, and then I started helping out with the Iowa series in 17, 18, 19. Helped with the Midwest Kayak Fishing Series for a year or two. Been a director for Bass. Helped out with KBF and continued to try to fish in that time. I've been relatively successful doing that. And then me and Josh got the idea to put this All-American together, and we've just been running with it ever since. So,
and don't let these guys sell themselves short. They're both phenomenal anglers too. Tyler, you've got a few key wins under your belt. Hook Bass Nation event on Chick. Scrolling through you won one of the TOCs, didn't you? One of the original. And then Josh is, looking at your Tourney X profile, man. You've got some good finishes, Angler of the Year stuff yourself. So, don't sell yourself short. You are a director, but you're also good at it too.
Thanks.
Well, we'll dive right into it. So the All-American Kayak Series, what is it? How did y'all come up with it? Why did y'all come up with it? Was it out of a necessity for your area? Was it some of the national trails didn't really play to your fancies? And, you wanted to create your own thing, but I'm here with some questions, but the mic is y'all's, however y'all want to go, whoever wants to talk about it.
Well, I kind of think I'll start off. It's kind of a mixture of all those things that you just mentioned. We originally, it kind of, came from the TOC, the original Tournament of Champions, where it was about kind of like the top, I think it was the top 5 from every club and their Angler of the Year points was invited to this tournament on Lake Fork. And it was a really cool, fun event that everybody really looked forward to. And it was something that, you looked forward to competing against your club members for to get that top 5 spot. Because to be on that team was pretty elite. And then you also went and represented your club. And so that tournament went away, and that kind of left a void. Me and Tyler and some other guys, we immediately started talking about it at a tournament up north one night we were camping at. We're like, we run tournament directors. There's like 5 tournament directors sitting around this campfire. So we thought we could put something like that together, and let's bring back the aspect, of honoring the clubs. And that's kind of where the All-American Classic was born. It was a replacement of the old TOC. Our incredible sponsor, Everhart's Outdoors in Clinton, Missouri, they reached out to me and they're like, "Hey, Josh, we want to put something together that's going to be off the charts. You got any ideas?" And I was like, "You know what? I do have an idea." And I got with Tyler and we started putting our heads together and we hammered out this thing. And it's really been something that's been well received and I think is really growing well. So that's what the Classic is all about. It's held every year in Clinton, Missouri on Truman Lake. It's kind of centrally located, almost exactly in the middle of the country. And the top 10 anglers from every club in the nation are invited from your AOI race. You're welcome to come and compete. And not only is it an individual tournament, but we've also got the team side of things too. We're going to combine the club's top 5 guys. They're going to get a combined score, and they're going to take home a pretty sweet team trophy too, which I've got one sitting here behind me that Moyak won last year. I don't know if you see that or not, but pretty proud of that one. But
I was
it's kind of
surfing on y'all's
team thing. So it's team versus team plus an individual tournament all in one. And it's a really fun time. It's laid back, relaxed. Everybody at the boat ramp is sharing information. They're helping each other out. They're handing out tackle. It's not one of them tight-lipped, high-stress environment tournaments, and we want to keep it that way.
Yeah, I was kind of going through y'all's like pictures and stuff, and I saw like a table full of really badass looking trophies. I've gone back on some of the posts and seen some killer payouts and stuff too. So, anything to add to what he was saying, Tyler? Anything he may have missed, or when did it start? Like, when was the first one?
The first one would have been in 2020, and we got together after we had 106, and we got done after that. And I looked at Josh and I'm like, "What do you think about putting a series together?" Because in 2018 there was a Midwest kayak fishing series that was kind of Midwest born, and it went for a year and then it kind of went away. And that void was there also, to keep the Midwest anglers, they're a pretty tight knit group. And I said, "Hey, let's throw a schedule together for this and make it happen. We'll run some north events, we'll run some south events." And we kicked it off the first year. I mean, we literally threw it together in 3 days, and we averaged 50 guys per event.
Yeah.
And we took a lot of the input from the guys, and we kind of switched things up for this year to make it a little more competitive. We branched out a little further, and it was a big hit in the Midwest. So,
well, and something that we're going to get into here in a minute, or we can say now, is, I think a lot of this is going to play to y'all's favor after we've seen all of the national trails, debut their schedules, and the Midwest got shafted.
Again, yeah, it's been happening the last several years, and that's kind of led to us developing this too. I wasn't even sure this would work at first. When Tyler said, "Let's put a series together," I'm like, "Man, there's tournaments already everywhere. We don't need any more." But really, we do, because a lot of except for the Hobie BOS, I mean, they're still the best, and they've got a good nationwide based circuit. But most of the other series, they just went to the Southeast, and they're always in either Texas or Florida or Alabama or Tennessee.
And they usually at least hit La Crosse, and that kind of blew me away that La Crosse wasn't on anybody's list this year. And it always has good turnouts. It's always, La Crosse is a great place. It's built around fishing. They don't mind us being there,
That's right. We're going to show out La Crosse this year too. Everybody else.
So that's actually, I was hoping he can make it on. Brian Schiller that, created Paddle and Fin. Me and Brian were putting together, we're going to kind of like tag team around the country this year. And we're going to hop into some of y'all's events this year and check it all out. But with that being said, so we know now, based off what you said, you have a trail series and then the classic.
Yep.
Talk a little bit about the classic first. What do entry fees look like for individuals and teams, and can any club in America get in on it? You know, how what do they have to do to get in on it? You know, have to bring at least X amount of guys, or how does that work?
We set up the requirements to make it real easy for everybody. We don't, what was it, Tyler? The minimum is you got to have at least 3 tournaments, and then
Yep.
with at least 10 people average. If you've got that, we'll consider that a series. And then all you got to do is just email me or Tyler your end of the season roster and say, hey, I want to sign up. I want to be part of the classic. Here's my top 10 guys, and we'll see you in the spring. It's that simple.
Awesome.
Yeah. So anybody's welcome to come.
So tell me about entry fees and payouts, and like you mentioned, there's an individual and team aspect. Go over all that.
As far as the team part of it goes, that's just included in your entry fee. You're not going to pay anything extra to get involved in representing your club. We want to keep that as part of it. You know, that's the foundation. That's the grassroots of the whole thing. So as far as the entry fee goes, I'm not even sure what we've got it set at for next year, to be honest with you. Tyler, do you know?
We're at what, 150 this year?
Yeah, I think we're 180, or we're doing 175 for the trail series.
Yeah.
But the classic, I'm not sure we've got that set yet, but it's not going to be over 200.
No,
we don't want it to get too crazy, stupid, and expensive. I mean, the entry fee we don't really have set and locked in yet for this year, so we don't really have that. It'll be less than $200 though. We want to keep this to where it's affordable. This is, for the angler that just fishes this club series and may not ever travel very much, or maybe they got a busy job schedule or they can't afford to travel much. This could be like their one tournament they can travel to a year to go to. So we don't want it to be too expensive.
Nice.
Working man's championship.
But still pay out big. We're still going to pay out at least 10 grand first place. So
Woo.
Where the hourly big bass is getting ready to go way up. We did $150 an hour this year. Next year, for the next classic in 2023, it's going to be pretty big. Everhart's is really working with some great companies that want to get involved with this. They really think this is going to turn into something big, so they want to be on board with it. And we've decided the best way to do that, to make some more excitement, is pump up that hourly big bass. So anybody has a chance to win, their entry fee back, and with just one fish.
Well, don't forget that big bass was $150 an hour, and then $500 per day,
mm-hmm.
and then $1,000 for the overall big bass.
Yeah, and this year one guy took it all.
Yeah,
Jeez.
he
won both days. Well, like $2,400 total for something for big bass.
For two fish.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'd probably end on that note. That'd be a killer day.
Right.
Yeah, man. I love. I can't remember. There's a tournament series that travels the country, Bass Boat, that does the hourly stuff, and I've always thought that was really cool. Because you can they pay out kind of like y'all do, but it's cool. You watch the guys hustle back to the ramp to kick a guy out of the chair by an ounce. It's just really cool.
Yeah.
So, if you can talk about it, how do you get that kind of money in with affordable entry fees to pay out like that? Obviously, it's all sponsor dollars, but is it just really?
This is all just entry fee money. We don't have any major control from any sponsor involved in this, really. I mean, Everhart's is right there to support us when we're working on getting some other companies. But we put this series together. The budget for the series is based off of membership dues, and and the entry fees we divvied it up. We found a way to make it work. So I mean,
That's awesome.
This series really is created, by the anglers for the anglers. Neither me nor Tyler is getting rich off this, that's for sure. But we still.
I don't think any tournament directors are, as far as kayak fishing goes. We all broke.
We found a way to make it work. Yeah. We found a way to make it work, and it seems to be a system that seems to be working. So,
no, that's great. I definitely think that, everybody listening to this, I'd like to see more, more clubs, because like to pay out $10,000, how many people was that entered in that tournament?
170, I think.
170. See, that's fantastic. And how far does it pay down?
We paid down top 10. We paid 10 spots.
I think we went 13.
Oh, we went 15. We went 15 spots. Yeah.
Yeah,
See,
10 through 15 got their entry fees back this year. We had money sitting yet, so I said let's throw it back in the pot.
See, that I personally, I like the thought of having a membership, because the funds can be used like you talk about. You can use it for you're not paying yourself. You're covering like trophies and food and the big checks, just whatever it takes.
Yeah,
I hear too many folks complain when they see a membership fee, like our yearly dues.
Those membership fees actually make it a better experience overall.
They really do,
because those if you want nice trophies, those add up. And we're as far as our series runs, we got 10 tournaments. You give out 3 trophies per tournament plus bid back. That's 40 trophies we need for one season. And if you make them a nice trophy, that money adds up quick, and it's got to come from somewhere. And so you got to find that happy medium balance. And tournament venues, permits. I'm already getting the permits for these for next year set up. And some of these states, man, they want an arm and a leg just to hold the tournament in their state, and then they want your firstborn child. So,
I think it's is it Illinois that next year they want like 10% of it?
Yeah, I think
whatever it is. The pool
I don't think anybody's going to be having tournaments in Illinois next year.
No, I was Susie Roloff, one of our hosts, was talking to us about that, because I don't even remember how it got brought up, but she kind of flew off, and I was like, "What are you talking about?" And I think that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
like absolutely ridiculous. The permits is where you get that. I think permits are stupid. Now, but certain bodies of water, it's understandable. I get it, but you can't that's double dipping for sure. They're just trying to get more money. But
well, let's not forget about talking about the trash fish.
Yeah.
Yes. That's something we brought on this year. It's been a big hit, and we're going to keep going with too. It's just a small little optional pot you can buy into, and any junk fish you catch, you're going to take home the whole pot.
That's awesome. Somebody told me that y'all did that, and some of our local clubs, we've had it wasn't a prize pool, but we'll have like some nice prize that we don't let anybody know it's happening before. We'll just kind of be like, make sure you take a picture of whatever you catch. And some guys like, well, I caught a pickerel. Like, well, boom, here's a cooler. I always love to throw. We used to give stuff away for whoever fell out during the event. Who got wet today? Somebody, sort of poor guy, to raise his hand.
There you go. Give him the turtle award.
Give him a rod. Like, here you go.
Yeah, that keeps things fun and keeps things laid back, and that's what we're trying to hold on to. Only taking it on a bigger scale. With the classic, and then the series.
Yeah. We'll kind of get into the series now. Is there anything else y'all wanted to add about the classic? Briefly, I'll mention how we're kind of changing things up by moving to the spring for moving forward. So there's no conflicts with any of the other major championships, because October is getting pretty full. So we're going to jump to the end of April. So this year we're going to have just an open qualifier for 2022. Anyone is invited to come fish this open. It's going to be a 2-day tournament on Sherman Lake in Clinton, Missouri. We're going to treat it, just like we did the classic this year. We're going to have the same payout. It's going to be a good one. We're going to give away a lot of free stuff, give away a kayak. We're going to give away all kinds of cool stuff. So, but the big thing is it's going to be a qualifier for the 2023 classic. So the top 50% of the field will get an automatic invite to the 2023 classic. And one of the ways that this can really help clubs out is they can get more representation for their clubs in the classic this way. If you send some guys and they go and qualify, you can roll down your spots for the Angler of the Year. If you've got if your top 10 guys in Angler of the Year for your club already qualified by fishing in this open qualifier, then you can roll down 10 more spots, and now you got 20 guys going to this tournament. So that can give you more representation. So
you can qualify through the open qualifier as well as your club. And then the next classic will be in 2023 at the end of April.
Awesome. I like it. Well, I think that everything you got going on there, already liked it, but without even really knowing all the detail. And it sounds like it's just going to get bigger and better. And you've got so much stuff very well thought out that like I'm a tournament director too. I do state level bass stuff. I've done a little bit of local stuff. So there's so many like pieces to it. I really get it. And there's just little things like I'd like to know just how you worked out the membership thing and entry fees, et cetera. Just, might be something that, we might try or something like that for like a local thing.
It's really helpful, especially in these times we're having right now when a lot of companies, can't really sponsor like they used to be able to as far as giving you product and, other funding. So
that was something I was going to mention too.
Self-fund yourself.
The membership dues do help, free up your sponsors for other things. Cause I've had like Dobbins Rods, I reached out to them. I work with that team and wanted to see if they'd sponsor our state championship. And she was like, I gave her, this is the overview of what we want. What could you do? And she's like, well, we can't do that. Like, we can't do a dollar amount with how things are. But she's like, if somebody else can cover the dollar amount, she's like, I can give 50% off or something like that. I can't remember what it was. She gave us this huge discount. She's like, I can give it to everybody that qualifies for your event. And that right there just, shows that they may not have the capital to hand you, but if you can free that capital up, membership dues or whatever it is, they're still willing to help us in other ways, which, like you're saying, man, right now we'll take whatever we can get. So that's awesome. Well, do you have any good like sponsors for that event locked in at all?
No, actually we don't. It's not really to be honest with you. Everhart's has pretty much given us free reign, to run this like we see fit, which is why we can make the schedule, for the series the way we thought would be just the best for the anglers, the best times, the best lakes, not based off of what cities, bureau is going to pay us the most money to have our tournament there. We're having our tournaments in the locations that we think are the best places and the best times to be. So I like having that free ability as well. And we're not tied down and restricted, by a company's contract or other restrictions that could happen.
Awesome.
We're free.
No, yeah.
We are our own entity.
Yep, we are. We're doing
That's
our own
something,
thing. We're not trying to step on anybody's toes. We're just trying to do our own thing and just fill a void here in the Midwest.
That's something that I hope a lot of people take away and listen to from this is how y'all are doing it. Like you say, freedom, get your schedule set however you want it set, get the schedule out, that way there's no schedule conflicts in the future, etc. A lot of the complaint comes with like, now I will be one that complains too. Bass takes forever to get their schedules out, but there's so much that goes into it when you are doing what y'all aren't, when you're having to work with, chambers of commerce, tourism boards, you finally get that set and then there's permits or, maybe you find somewhere you want to be that doesn't have permits, but the Chamber of Commerce can't put anything up or offer anything up. And there's so much into it, but kind of going about it like y'all did, which is like, it's just like next level, grassroots in a way. That is what I take from it. It's bigger and better, but 100% it still has that feel of, like a local club trail. It's one that travels. And I don't mean that selling it short at all. I think that y'all have I would, mark my word, with the national trails skipping out on the Midwest, I bet y'all have no problem getting 100 people at each one of these events because there's only a couple of names on here I'm not familiar with, and everything else, and I'm sure the ones I'm not familiar with are still, A-class lakes. So
yeah, pretty excited about the upcoming All-American Series. We switched it up to 2-day events this year, like Tyler mentioned, to make it more competitive. And we think we put together a pretty sweet schedule. So hopefully we knocked it out pretty good. We'll see if Mother Nature cooperates.
She won't. She never does.
Yeah, I know. Right.
Well, we'll get right into the trail series half of it too. So I've got the graphic pulled up here. I'm just going to run the the dates are set, right? So I won't be messing you up by saying any of the dates.
Yeah, I did make an adjustment last week, but everything should be current, depending on
Okay.
what graphic you got.
I think this is the
As
most
long as
recent
you're
one.
not on the website.
No, this came off of
Yeah.
the Facebook page.
Okay, yeah. You should
Okay,
be-
yeah, then you're good.
Yep.
All right, so going into next year for the season, starting out at Lake Palestine, Texas in February. It's the 26th and 27th. From there, Kentucky Lake, March 19th and 20th. That'll be fun. Table Rock, Missouri, April 9th and 10th. Okoboji? Is that how you say that?
Yeah. Yep.
Hey, good job.
That's an Iowa hidden gem. So we had an event up there last year, and if you haven't fished it, it's a glacial lake. And so
Ooh.
the water's crystal clear, but 80 inches got 39th place.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
I had to take a second to think about that. I was like, wait, hold it.
Yeah, there's a bunch of fish caught.
Right. 88 will win of just about any tournament in the Midwest,
Right.
and to see these guys, I mean, it was literally quarter inch, but there was of 54 people, there was 51 limits.
Wow. Well, that one's in May, 14th and 15th. Sounds like that'd be a fun one to hit.
It
From
is.
there, Lake St. Clair, June 4th and 5th. Still really want to get up to that one. It's on my list this year. I think that's, if I don't have it right in front of me, I think that's the one that we're going to come up there to hang out with y'all at.
That'd be a good one. That should
Was
be the
that
perfect time to be there.
There's another one, and I can't remember which one it was we picked, but we'll be up there, I think, twice this year at some point. So from there, we go on to Wilson Lake, July 30th, 31st. That's another one I don't know about.
Man,
Tell
that
me a
was
little
like that was the fan favorite from last year.
Really?
Yeah. I had never been to that lake personally and put it on the schedule. It was like pretty much the largest lake in the area and seemed like the best choice. But man, it's beautiful up there. The guys had a blast fishing it, and everybody couldn't wait to go back. So,
Heck yeah.
pretty excited about going back up there to Wilson.
It's got a solid mix of largemouth and smallmouth in it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
And
sweet.
I mean, super clear lake, tons of rock. I mean, it's a true Kansas gem. I mean, that was the first time I got to fish it last year, and yeah, it was killer.
I personally think it's the best bass fishing lake in Kansas, honestly, of that size.
I may have to come check that. I may just have to rearrange my schedule. My bucket list lakes are going to get too great. Going on from there, hit Lewis and Clark Lake, August 13th, 14th. That's another one I'm not familiar with.
Yeah, that was another one that everybody had a blast at. Beautiful, beautiful lake up there.
That's the only reason I knew
River.
about it was from y'all hitting it. I heard a bunch of folks talk about it. We may have even covered something on it, on the podcast, and somebody told me a little bit about it. That one's August.
Lewis and Clark there's a lot more current than La Crosse. It's just a river system, and then there is a giant lake there too, but a lot of the fish are caught up in the river. But you're looking at normal flows at 3.5 miles an hour.
Whew,
and
nice.
So
we're opening it up to the river this year too.
Yeah.
So we're expanding the boundaries from last year. The guys are going to be able to get up on the river this year.
Heck yeah. From there, y'all head down to Bull Shoals, September 10th and 11th.
Yep.
And right after that, you hit 10 Killer Lake, October 1st and 2nd. Heard of both of those. Heard they're both great fisheries.
Yeah, we should be there right at just the right time too.
Yeah. A lot of it, the way your schedule rolls around too, it works really well with the timing of the year, which, any great trail series does that. You see, the best lakes follow the spawn, and the best, late summer, early fall. And I think y'all have got a killer lineup that way. So, kick-ass job on that. Well, let's talk about
3-day in lacrosse.
Yeah, I see that. The All-American Old Man River Championship in lacrosse, July 8th, 9th, and 10th. So we'll hit that right now. So is that just is that like the end of the year for the Trail Series event, the championship for the Trail Series, or is it just a separate event? Or
no, it's like a
Go ahead.
mid-season 3-day Tyler, go ahead. You talk about it. It's going to be for AOY points, so it will count. So if you're in the AOY race,
it'll count for 1.5 times the points. And we're actually going to fish Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and after Saturday we're going to cut. We're going to make a cut, and we're going to let the top side go out and battle it out for the last day. We're going to pay out big bass pots for 3 days. And lacrosse has really shown out for all the organizations, and when I've been good friends with Jeremiah up there at Explore Lacrosse since KBF did their very first event up there. And this guy has done nothing but support kayaks. So it's our turn to put up 100 to 150 guys up there, and really show out for them and give back to them, give back to the community that's been, they've been throwing money at us for 5 years now. And never once, they don't sway from anything. So I really wanted to show that area out. I mean, the support up there has been amazing. The town is amazing. The sites are amazing. The river it fishes so well.
There's so many good restaurants.
Yes, cheese curds everywhere.
Yes,
and good beer. That Spotted Cow beer.
Oh man, okay. Yep. Something we're gonna hit a side one right here. Something I loved about up there is the gas stations up there are like small freaking grocery stores. You can get everything you need in one stop, and the junk food that I could load up on there was fantastic. I loved it up there.
Lacrosse is and the Upper Mississippi River is definitely a bucket list destination. If you've never been there, you have to go. In fact, the lacrosse event's going to be on our schedule every year. We're going to lacrosse every year, so that's how special of a place it is.
It is, and I think this year, it can't work anymore in your guys' favor. You're wanting to give back, throw this big 3-day event up there, and what do you know? No one else is scheduling to go up there, so they need it more than anybody, and this will just help boost your numbers. I think you could get you may break 100 by a significant amount just because everybody likes to visit lacrosse. With your big payouts and everything, it's a situation where as long as you don't have a conflicting date, why would you not go?
Yeah.
Right. 124 is the biggest tournament we've had up there. And so, and we started off the very first one that I won in, it was 2016. There was 9 guys there. And, so we've come along. There's definitely a long ways to go,
Yeah, definitely one of the started from the bottom, now we're here kind of deals.
Yeah. And I'm hoping we can push it over that level this year. So.
Oh, I'd like to. We'll hype it up right now. Everybody that listens to us, we've got a huge Midwest following with our podcast, and I mean, if they're listening to us, I guarantee you they already know about all this. So everybody put down July 8th and 10th at minimum. If you can't make any of these other stops, make that one. Let's break that 124 people. It'd be awesome to see 200 of the kayak anglers in this country show up at lacrosse and show out. Do y'all do pool 7, 8, 9 like most everybody does?
Yeah, that's what we're doing this year, 7, 8, and 9.
Awesome.
Well, it'd be nice.
I would love take a step back and
Well, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Tyler.
Oh, I said I would love to put up 200 guys up there. And just to make everybody go, well, how'd they do that? Just to show them that the Midwest will show out.
There's a lot of anglers in the Midwest and a lot of great water and a lot of great lakes. And that's the only reason we're doing this. I mean, it just seems logical.
Yeah. It's so funny that, the complaints are out there and everybody sees them about how the trails all went, more southern. And it's funny for me because it's great and all, but I live in Alabama and yet I'm going the opposite direction. Everybody's excited about these trails and, all the stops I want are in the Midwest. So, it kind of played to me because I was like, well, shit, I don't really have to get out of my town any. I mean, it's all a drive. Texas is a drive. Kentucky Lake's a drive, but still, like, Lacrosse was the first time I traveled across the country, and it was freaking awesome. I sucked at fishing there, but it was great. And now I was ready to come back, and then all the trails swapped it up on us. But it's whatever. I think y'all got a great thing going. So let's talk about how the trail series came to be. You can go over your payout structure, your AOI structure, and everything, just like we did about the classic. Let's talk about it with the trail series for people that are wanting to hang out with y'all for the long haul and run for an AOI.
Well, to describe the AOI points would be very difficult. It's actually our webmaster, Troy Inky's got it all automated. All we have to do is plug in everybody's results at the end of the tournament, and it calculates it for us. Basically, to give you an idea, first place is worth 300 points. Second place is 295. Third is 290. And then it goes, and then the increments get closer. They go to 4 increments, and then 3 increments, and 2 increments, and it slowly goes down. Last place anglers or anybody that skunks all get the same amount of AOI points. So that's how the points structure works. Big bass is worth some bonus points. It's worth 5 bonus points.
And is that per event or like big bass of the season?
Per event.
Per event.
Yeah. So basically, that's like a moving up a spot. If you finish in third and you get big bass, it's like second place points.
Oh, that's cool. We do something similar to that here. Well, when we add your scores together at the end of the year, your biggest bass of the year that you submitted to one of our monthly big bass tournaments goes in, and it's just that. Maybe because we take your best 3, maybe one of your 3 is meh, but you caught a 25 somewhere in the year. That definitely helps you boost I don't remember what the point scale system we use for that was, but it definitely plays. It can play a big change at the end of the year.
We're doing the best of 5 too. So we've got 10 tournaments on the schedule, but you're only required to have 5 for AOI. So you can, and the way we've got the tournaments spread out, we think that everyone can probably hit 5 in the Midwest without driving, more than 6 or 7 hours. So
yeah,
that was the plan, to try to make it to where everybody could try to get to the minimum. So the minimum is 5. You can fish as many as you want and drop your lowest one. So.
But, you just want to fish all of them anyway. So,
yeah.
Yep.
So talk a little bit about the pay or the entry fees and stuff for these events, because these are 2-day events. So, typically they have a higher entry fee.
Entry fee is $175 this year,
and 100% payout.
Yep, after the Tourney X fees and PayPal, all that crap. Yeah, 100% payback.
Awesome.
We do take out the 10% as part of admin fees and the cost of setting up the tournament and supplying some food sometimes and stuff like that too. So that comes off the top. So after that, everything's paid back out.
Yeah, and I mean all that goes to making the event better. So.
Yep, exactly.
Can't complain. And
like I said, that's part of our operating budget, like I was talked about earlier, with not having any sponsors. It'd be great if we had some sponsors. So if anybody's looking to, any companies out there, they want to throw $50,000 at us with no requirements, we'll listen.
If you throw $50,000 in them, I just need like $3,000.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
10%.
Yeah. No, man, we have a bunch of great people and companies listening to this, man, and I'm sure there'd be tons of companies that are going to want to get in just to get their name in this, whether it be with money or product or whatever. All these companies are, they're all hurting from the same economic stuff, but at the same time, a lot of these companies are still in growing stages. And like companies come to mind like Kayak Cushion. That guy backs up as many clubs and events and people as he can. Great dude with Brandon over there. There's other companies like Bending Branches and Yak Gadget and Yak Attack. They all, they like to dip their toes in it as many times as they can to get their name out there. So for any of those guys that listen to this show, which I know a bunch of those companies and people in those companies do, hit these guys up, man. Give them some support. Yeah. Especially this year. You have no support out in the Midwest right now because nobody's going.
Yeah.
So go out that way.
We expect to have some pretty good numbers this year.
I seriously, I can't wait till the season kicks off. I don't think you're going to have any trouble at all. I mean, even with with Texas and Kentucky, there are trails coming through there. but still, Kentucky Lake always draws a really good crowd just about any time of the year, which is hilarious because that lake can just suck most of the time.
Yes, it can. I got my fingers crossed that this is going to be a good year.
Yeah,
like the old days.
I got faith. It's going to be Spawn.
Yep, Spawn. The old Spawn on Kentucky Lake, where you go out and catch 5, 21-inch fish.
I hope so, man. I've been waiting to hear about another big banger year for Kentucky Lake because when I first got really back into bass fishing, got into kayak fishing, I remember Jason Lambert in the bass boat world ledge fishing 3 days and caught 30 pounds each day and called it quits at 10 a.m. on the final day and ordered a pizza on the bank, parked his boat on the bank. And then it's like, since then, that lake sucked. He caught all the last of the good fish, it seems like.
The Asian carp really messed it up pretty bad. But from the reports I've been seeing, I think it's on the uptake. I mean, I think they got it under control a little bit. But
I think
I guess we'll see.
Asian carp overly pressured because that lake housed everything for a long time, the same way Gunnersville is right now, where everybody wants to fish it.
Everybody wants to be on Chickamauga or Gunnersville.
Well, and when those lakes go to shit, you go somewhere else. And that's kind of, I've heard a lot of guys that, I'm not going to hit Kentucky Lake for a while. And, it just gives it life cycles a chance to, change or recycle. The pressure backs off, fish, show back up, quote unquote. So it could be a killer event for sure. Let's see what else we got to hit on this. So we covered the payouts, we covered the schedule. So what event each of y'all individually, I know y'all are running the event. We all get to fish.
We try to.
I know it's almost impossible.
since we're doing the buddy system here, sometimes it's worked, but not usually. Usually don't.
Well, if you could hit one of these stops, which one would you want to make? You can call that buddy card where you're like, look, I'm not doing this one. You are.
Lacrosse or Table Rock.
Oh, yeah. What about you, Tyler?
St. Clair and Palestine.
So y'all, I meant to mention this when I hit St. Clair. So y'all hit St. Clair at probably the sweetest time that has been proven the last 2 years, when I think KBF has been there the last 2 years in a row. Because I know 2 years ago, I think it was, our very own Josh Eldridge was like first or second with 90-something inches. And when that tournament ended, I think 25th had 90 inches. Like absolute slugfest up there. I think it was a little bit down from that this year, but not terrible, And we were saying it. We wanted to hit St. Clair with whatever trails go in that direction, but they were going in July. And me and Brian were like, man, that just sucks. I don't want to waste my time to go up there in July. And sure enough, I was like, we should pull up the All-American stuff and take a glance at it. And y'all are there the exact weekend that we wanted to be there. So that is freaking awesome.
Yeah, I made a phone call to a buddy of mine, Matt Linsman, up there. And I'm like, dude, here's the deal. Every time there's a St. Clair event, it's 9 hours from my house. And I'm like, every time there's an event, I always find something else to go fish. I'm like, so give me the best time of year that you can put it on. And he said, that weekend, I called Josh. I said, book it.
We're going.
You're going to have to go no matter what now.
Yep. I just went ahead and pulled it back up. Yeah. We're coming to that one, and we're going to come to lacrosse. I thought that was the other one we were going to make it to. I didn't realize that the lacrosse was a 3-day thing, so I'm going to have to adjust my schedule.
Yeah.
I don't know. I probably won't make day 3 anyway, so.
You never know.
You can still stick around and fish. We're going to do an hourly big bass on day 3. So if you don't make the cut, you can still stay and fish for that hourly big bass on day 3.
Never mind. I'm there.
So everybody can still stick around that final day if they want a shot at some spending money.
Heck yeah, man. I can't wait to get back up there to give that lake another shot, man. I went up there with no experience, only pre-fished for like 4 hours, went completely against my gut, and it absolutely ruined it. Like
all you need is a jackhammer. That's all you need.
Yeah. I found a creek that no one else was on, and found it the day before. Didn't pre-fish it, just found it right down where I was staying. Was like, sweet, it's got an easy launch. I'm gonna hit this. This will be smallmouth heaven. No, I didn't know that it rained the night before. When I got to that thing with my motor going upstream, I could barely get a mile an hour, and I did that for like 4 miles. Got no bites. The only fish I caught that whole day, when I got out standing on the bank, I caught a smallmouth under the bridge, and that just pissed me off even more. And I just like, I'm out. Long drive back to the beach. So,
One of the cool things about up there is that you can get into that current, that river system. You can get out of the current. You can get in some backwater swampy area where you would think you're down in Alabama, in the swamp or something.
That's what I should have been fishing. And I was like,
there's just so much different variety that you can choose from. It's amazing.
A bunch of the guys that I knew that were up there were telling me, I ran into them around. They were like, man, stay back here in these swamps and frog fish. You know how to do it. It'll work. I was like, yeah, but I'm in La Crosse. I want to go fish some kind of river system. I want some current, something different. And one of the guys that was, trying to get me to lean towards what I know held first place like half the day. And I was like, yeah, freaking figures,
Yeah, I mean, you can catch them in 6 inches of water up there.
Yeah.
You'd swear their backs are supposed to be sticking out.
Well, that's awesome, man. I'm glad we could have y'all on, help spread the word about this. I didn't ask, what are the membership dues?
$50 for the year.
$50 and that's for the Trail Series and the Classic, or
Classic has no membership requirements whatsoever. That's a separate thing, just for the clubs. Everybody is welcome to come to the Classic.
Awesome. Well, yeah, man.
I mean, even if you got one guy that wants to come to it, just shoot us a message, and if you meet the requirements, like, he's in.
Also, awesome. You don't have to be a member to compete in the series as well either. All these tournaments, members do get a discounted entry fee, so your entry fee will be lower if you're a member, but non-members can still enter a tournament for just a little bit extra.
Sweet. I like it. Options. Everybody likes options. Well, anything else on it, guys? Anything that we didn't hit? I had my good list, and we kind of hit all of it in all the conversation, and I can't think of anything else that anybody might need to know. Here, what's the best way to see all this? Because you said the website, the dates are wrong.
No, we're getting it updated
the one
right
date
now. Our webmaster's been on vacation. He's back now. Everything should be updated this week at the allamericankayakseries.com.
There you go. And if you're one of these new age folks and you just find them on Facebook, real easy to find the All American Kayak Series. Yep. I think I was like 4 posts down, found the Trail Series date post that I'm looking at right now. So again, everybody, make sure you take a look at this. It's going to be, very big deal, really good payouts, hourly payouts for big bass, hitting tons of the Midwest stuff. So for all my Midwest guys, again, I can't stress it enough. This is a perfect time for you to, show up to these events and help this series grow. And it'll also turn right around and help, let the bigger, the national well-known Trail Series know what they missed out on not coming up there this year. I'm sure they'll be back next year, but they're missing it out, man. Y'all are going to kick it out of the park, and you never know. I mean, y'all may take some of that clout from them. Who knows?
We'll see what goes. The options
we could be talking about the next big thing, man.
No, I mean, that's the big thing when we started this. We're both anglers, and we just want to make it for the anglers.
100%.
Keep it simple, fun.
Yeah, it's very simple. There was nothing that you talked about at all confusing. We could get into like rules and boundaries, but leave that for people qualifying. That I'm sure y'all have that information available.
Yeah, actually, our boundary rule is pretty wide open too. Once you launch within the lake, you can go in whenever you want. If you can paddle to it, you can go. There are no out of bounds, so you can go up a creek as far as you want. So we don't limit anybody. If you're a creek runner, then you can take off and go up that creek as far as you can float your kayak.
That right there, just from anybody that's listens, know we've had those rants lately, especially like having Drew Gregory, part of my podcast. That's his thing, Mr. Wild Waters himself. He can do both, but you like to play to your strengths, and yeah, a lot of people can't stand seeing some of these national events play away from that, for whatever reasons that they may have for it.
Yeah, I just don't see any reason to restrict anglers. I mean, why not go fish? I mean, we're kayak anglers. Part of that is being able to get away from everybody else and where boats can't go and get into backwater areas and up these little skinny creeks. And, we're trying to find that water that nobody's been to, that virgin water. That's where you're going to catch your good fish. So that's, I mean,
100%.
and it also, gets rid of drama, people complaining about people fishing out of bounds. So I mean, we've got clear maps up the entire lake. It's huge. It's enormous of where you can launch from. And then from there, you can just go as far as you want. So that makes it win-win for everyone.
I'm a creek guy, man. I feel everybody's pain with it. But being a tournament director, I do see the other sides of it. Something Drew does with river bass, or used to do with river bass, and he had like a formula based off of like shoreline miles. I'm trying to remember how it was. But he had a formula. Yeah, it basically break down and would give you a little bit of a boundary. That way, like we have a lake here, Lewis Smith Lake, where there's 30 miles of creek, out of the main body of lake. Based off the rules, yeah, you can get up there. But what a lot of people do is they'll go up that 30 miles and put in. Well, how do you know that it truly is accessible if the water level's down? Like, would you have to walk a mile of non-floatable water? And that's where a lot of people like get upset is, they're not accessing the same fishing waters. And,
right.
So what I'm saying is, like policing it from both ends,
it's
got to find that happy medium.
Yeah, it's definitely a discussion to be had on that subject. It's there's sides on both ends, that have valid statements. We just try to keep it as simple as possible. Let guys go fish up the creeks. If you hit dry land, then turn around. That's your boundary. So
yeah,
that's the way I look at it.
Heck yeah. Well, what we always like to do at the end of each show is give each person a chance to thank anybody that helps make fishing easier for them, or in this case, you're promoting your trail series. Shout out anybody you need to, or just anything at all to close it out.
I'll just give a shout out to the Moyak Fishing Series here in Missouri. The amount of growth that we've seen, we're averaging almost 100 guys per live tournament this year. So we've really grown into something special. And those guys are some really great anglers that are traveling the country and starting to really show out and dominate. So I'm really proud of Moyak. I also want to thank my wife for letting me do this podcast on her birthday. Probably
oh, Lord.
I'm probably going to have to go
so
here
sorry.
in a minute. So, but yeah. She is Mrs. Moyak. She does a lot behind the scenes. She is my rock, and she helps me with everything. So I just want to give a shout out to her. I love you, babe.
That's a perfect ender right there. That way, look, honey, give me my brownie points back, please.
No, she is. Like she's the mama of the All-American too. I mean,
yeah,
she's out there checking people in, and she takes it just as serious as we do. So, I mean, we got to shout out to her and Jay Harmon. Jay Harmon's another one that's always right there to help.
And Troy Inky too, doing all of our website stuff.
The webmaster.
Yep, the webmaster.
Welcome back from your vacation, but these guys need you to get back to work, man.
Chop, chop. But, and I mean, the guys at Everhart's, Gary and Jared, I mean, these guys, they literally, I've never seen a whole store come together like these guys do to put on this All-American Classic. I mean, it is nonstop, all hands on deck. There's nothing overlooked. I mean, these guys, they're setting up tables, they're setting up tents, there's lights. I mean, the food's coming. I mean, they knock it out of the park. So
that's awesome. Yeah, you don't hear about any shops really doing anything like that for real.
Oh, so they're a major outdoor store too. Just think of like your local Bass Pro Shop, and then they all of a sudden they just shut down everything they're doing and send all their employees outside to work and run a tournament. I mean, that's basically what happened. Everhart's is incredible. If you haven't ever been to their store, I mean, you need to visit that too in Clinton, Missouri. And if you're coming to the All-American, you're going to see it, and you're going to walk away, and you're going to say the same thing I'm saying right now. You're going to be like, man, Josh was right. This place is amazing.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. I can't wait to check it all out for real, man. And I can't thank y'all enough for coming on to join me for a little bit to talk about this. I just really wanted to give y'all a chance to tell everybody what's going on and kind of explain what you got going, because Drew said it himself. We were covering the classic, y'all's last classic, had so many people in it, and he was like, man, we need to talk to those guys, because I think that's the next big thing on the horizon as far as kayak fishing goes. So if you've already got the eye of somebody like that, y'all are doing it right. So just keep up the good work, and we'll have you back on. I'm sure what we'll do is I'll make a note and make sure we get some of y'all's winners on, have y'all come back on once the season kicks off, or maybe bring some of the podcast stuff with us up to La Crosse, maybe do a little live drop down there, something cool.
That'd be awesome. And we'll have everything up on Tourney X come January. If anybody wants to start signing up for tournaments, we're going to be running Tourney X, and it'll be up there in January.
Awesome. All right. Well, I appreciate it so much, guys. Thank y'all for coming in. I will let y'all get to it. Thanks everybody for listening in to another episode. We'll see you again next week. Will probably be our last one before we hit our holiday cutoff. So we will see y'all then. Thank you, everybody, and we're out.
Thanks for tuning in to another killer episode on Paddle and Fin. Don't forget to go check out our website at paddle_and_fin.com. Don't forget to check out the YouTube channel at Paddle and Fin. If you got a question, comment, want to hear from a future guest on a future episode, feel free to email us at paddle_and_fin@gmail.com. Don't forget to follow us on social media at Paddle and Fin on Facebook and Instagram. Shout out to our show supporters, Angler. The Angler button and app just makes for a better time on the water and creates a virtual logbook for every fishing outing out on the water. Shout out to Rocktown Adventures, located in Northern Illinois, for all your kayaking, camping, and hiking needs. Shout out to Jig Masters Jigs. When in doubt, get the jig out. Go to jigmasters.com